There we go. Okay. Definitely doesn't. Alright, guys. Okay. Cool. Sorry about that. Alright. Time to get started. I don't have very much time. Probably only going to be like a 15 or 20-minute stream, but it is what it is. I have a deadline for this, so I wanted to get started on it. I'm going to go ahead and start by removing this big old beefy battery. What's the date on this? I'm curious. Well, it's out. 20. What is that? 2013? That's 3813. So this actually might be a little newer, and it's rechargeable, right? Yeah, it's a BR, so actually this may not be that bad. I didn't want to leave it in there because I might have to heat the board. So I'm sure I'm gonna regret doing that because it's the next, yeah. But all right. So first thing I want to do is just verify. I think these are all 47 at 16. Yeah. So that makes it easy. Are they all marked their polarity? Yes. Okay. Cool. So all right. So chat rate 1. Where? Doesn't even show anybody in chat. Okay. Anyway, so I'm using my handy dandy tweezers for this board. Sometimes hot air, but I'm gonna try and keep things in shot. No promises. Sometimes it can be difficult. So yeah. So I'm working over here. Here's my. Okay. Actually, gonna use my cheaper. Well, not really cheaper, but all right. Okay, good. My head really won't get in the way, so that's good. Okay, good. Should probably have my tweezers in hand. And I don't mean these. That'll be actually the question. Do I know where my tweezers are? There they are. There we go. That was easy. Now, it's going to be difficult with the camera the whole time. Not that anybody's here, but eventually someone will see this, I guess. Boop. This actually might be a little bit more difficult. That angle is not exactly conducive to getting a pair of tweezers. I might have to use hot air for that one. All right, we'll come back to that one. That one is more difficult to get to. Hello, whoever's watching. Feel free to drop a comment in the chat. There is one cap on here that has leaked actually quite substantially. Let me see if I can get zoomed in on that. So I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see. Yeah, I probably could zoom right in on that. I might have to open the shutter a bit. But you can kind of see the oiliness of this cap here. You can see it's like right there. This cap is definitely leaked. So yep, I can smell it. Oh, where's okay. I might hot air this one. We'll see how it cooperates. Oh, it came right off. Ah, crap. I couldn't squeeze it, but it did come off. Cool. There we go. Yeah. That one's pretty toasted. I think it's this one that leaked. It could be this one. There we go. I gotta get a better grip on these. Alright. So now, probably should be using a little more flux on this board, but even with these tweezers, it ain't magic. You ain't gonna necessarily switch to my better solder here. Thankfully, putting them back in is easier than taking them out. There we go. Okay. All right. How many more we got? I think it's just 2 or 3. No, it's 3. Okay. I'm also, having to account for this camera here, so every YouTuber will tell you that camera slows them down. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure my head doesn't get too in the way. Okay, there we go. All right, there were one more, or there's 2 more. Where was it? Maybe it was just 2. I thought it was 3. I guess I was seeing that one twice. Okay. And then I'll replace these. What are they anyway? 220 at 25. The board doesn't really need 220 at 25. The board, obviously is only ever going to see 12 volts. Given the power supply is only 12 volts. But I'll probably just, for the sake of keeping it relatively consistent, I will probably go ahead and replace that with the same voltage. Maybe there's some form of step up. There we go. Bang. Okay. We've gotten all the old caps off minus the through holes, which I'll use my desoldering gun here in a second, because I'm actually going to clean up. Alright, well that means I no longer need this. That could go on my shelf. And now we'll go back to using my actual, well, I never used it on the stream, but my actual soldering iron. So come on, I need a little more freedom of movement here. Okay, that's a little better. Yeah, this isn't like terribly difficult. It's just awkward with the camera because I'm keeping the board. Actually, yeah. Let me zoom out of here. Actually, and we'll focus back so you can see the whole. Now we can go a little bit further, and we'll put the shut. There we go. Which way do I need to correct for? This way. There we go. We'll go ahead and just tighten that down a bit. All right, here we go. So. Now, before this board goes home, it'll actually end up washed. It'll look brand new. I can't really disclose too much about this board. For reasons that'll eventually be found out. But, oh, we have an opto isolator in here. Okay. I'm going to replace that, I think. Interesting. It's like a through hole mounted as a SMD. Alright, these all labeled on the board. Well, I have a photo of it, so I'm not too concerned. There's one. Before I remove them, I want to double check they're all the same voltage rating. Interestingly, you can mount these in two different ways. It looks, no, maybe not. They have holes, but the other holes are definitely not being used. I'm not sure why. Alright, so. Actually, thinking about it, I bet that opto isolator that I saw, by the way, just pointing that out, that's right here, that white thing. This is a 4325 or 4N35. That's going to be part of the network. It's isolated from the, more than likely to isolate it, or it's maybe some form of switch mode power supply. Both, maybe. Like I said, I'm going to probably replace it. It's kind of old. 220 at 35, or 220 at 25. I think these are all going to be 220 at 25. Yeah. So far, yeah. All right. Well, I have, somewhere, not over here. I'll have to go grab them, but I'm going to go ahead and just remove these. And I'll replace them with brand new ones. So these are actually pretty high quality originally. I'm sure these are somewhat fine, but for the purpose of, you know, it's here, so it's going to get its, maybe not. Some of these are kind of crusty. Good that I have the photo, because, no, these are not labeled, actually. But yeah, I have a photo of it, so I'm not too concerned. Yeah, I have a photo of it, so, which more than covers my bases. Did I not desolder that one? Oh, I did, just not very well. Annoyingly. Alright. Eventually, I will be doing the power supply, which is going to probably be, I gotta look up if anybody's got a, well, I don't really care if they do or not. My biggest issue with the power supply is going to actually be whether I have all the caps for it, because they tend to use weird filter caps. Might have to order those. Come. Why are you being stubborn? Is it? I'm just soldering that, right? Yeah, no, I am. Alright. Let's just do it this way. There's one. There's two. Okay. There we go. Alright. Those are out. Let me clear the holes. I do need my tip is starting to get a little bit crusty. Although I am getting a new desoldering gun, so that I'm going to be trying out. We'll see how well that works. I've been told it works well. Okay. There we go. So now all the caps are removed, which will allow me to now do a visual inspection. I'm actually going to go ahead and clean up the caps here, or the pads, I should say. And yep, I use a through-hole desoldering gun for surface mount. No reason not to, and it saves a lot of braid, let me tell you. I might go back. Nah, that should be alright. I don't think I really need to use any braid on this. This board's fairly clean. Although I am going to check one area that got a little bit of cap juice on it. Again, I'm going to wash this, so I'm not terribly concerned about it. And I do recommend, if you have a board like this, don't just use alcohol. That is not a that does not safely disarm, so to speak, the electrolyte. You want to use some soap. You can just use some soap on that area. You don't have to necessarily wash the whole board. I will, because this board is filthy from spending all its life. Oh, I missed 2 points. But you can just use localized. Because the issue is alcohol doesn't turn so you basically need to turn the salt. You need to turn the electrolyte into a salt. Yeah, that one's kind of questionable. That one looked like it got that one definitely took a beating. So probably was a good thing we're replacing this. There we go. Nice and clean. Yeah, these caps were definitely crusty. Good thing is the board looks good. There's no concerning. Come on. There we go. Yeah, this board overall looks good, even like where it looks a little questionable. There's clearly no signs of damage or anything. So that's good at least. Alright, let's go back over with a little more alcohol. Just because I know. And yeah, this board will look really good when it's clean. They used like a very interesting style of PCB. It's hard to describe, but it's not your typical. It's very industrial almost. I am happy with how this is coming out. Very good. We are just about ready to throw on new caps, and this board will be done. I'm kind of curious to see how the floppy drive looks. I might actually have to go get some lithium grease. I don't have any, but they want that restored, so. And, why not? you know. So, all right, yeah. These, like I said, I'm gonna wash this, so I'm not too concerned about getting all the electrolyte off the board, since that'll be handled during that stage. I need to get 220. Okay, so okay, did I miss any pads? I don't like how you look. I'm gonna clean you up. You're a little bit crusty, rusty. Yeah, definitely these through-hole caps have started leaking for sure. Like these are, they definitely needed some attention. But they will get they'll get long life caps, which will outlive this board. We'll just go ahead and it's interesting because they did not mark the through-hole caps in any way. So, like, you would have no way to know, unless you already knew, which way they went in. I mean, I guess you could check for ground. The problem is, yeah, I guess that's probably the only way you could. Now, I think, because this board is pretty special, you know, I don't think just electrolytic caps are going to do it. I think we are going to use some poly caps now. What do I have in stock for that? And to be clear, there's absolutely no benefit over one versus the other. Everyone, I mean, outside of yes, in 30 years it might not leak. Maybe. You know. I mean, obviously polymer definitely won't leak, but like this idea that like electrolytic is, you know, bad or whatever, and it's, you know, I guess whatever people want to think. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and use polys. So I have a few different options. I think I'm gonna go with, I have 47 at 20. All right, I'm just gonna use these. They're black. They're kind of inconspicuous. They don't really, kind of like Perry the Platypus. It doesn't really do much. But these are V-Tants from Vichy, I believe. I think there's 5 on here. I'm guessing. We'll see if I'm wrong. Here we go. All right, now, unlike regular caps, the mark tells you where positive is, not where negative is. So I got to be careful. There we go. Okay. There's one. Okay, let's turn this bad boy. Two. By the way, I don't know if you can't. They're like these little square package. Kind of cool. I keep these in stock for special occasions. They do cost more, but I think the person receiving this will definitely will be here we go. I think there's one more, right? You guys, well, I have the photos, so I could double check, but I think maybe I got them all already. Nope, there it is. There was one more. Okay, I had one more left, so I was right. 5. not super happy about getting to that one. But, all right, so they're all in place. Now I can tack the other side down. Okay. There we go. Okay. There's one I want to redo a little bit, but I'm going to use my hot tweezers, I think, for that. Oh, right. I was going to redo that. Okay. If you don't have a drawer of random parts sitting by your knee, are you doing it right? There we go. 40, same exact one that's on there. Different color, but given how old the original one is, they do fail. In fact, they fail a lot on the, not a lot, but I replace them on pretty much every Macintosh Classic analog board I do, because they're a little bit not great in that respect. Do I need to redo that? I should. This is where my other hot tweezers would be helpful, but I just need to... There we go. Perfect. Alright, so we need to hot gun that off, I think, because I don't think that's, yeah, that's not actually a through, that's weirdly through-hole mounted surface mount. I do that for caps sometimes. Okay, so notches to the right. Okay, old one removed. And there we go. Okay. Go ahead and clean up those pads. And we'll put the new one down. Again, as old as it is, they do fail, and it's a pretty important part of the circuit. I'm being it's requested essentially to bulletproof this thing, so there we go. All the old solder removed. Clean up pads. There we go. Dry off. Wipe away. Yeah, there's got to be some form of switch mode, given that's usually when you would use a. So they did. How did they do this? Okay, they bent the leg. Actually, this might have been a. This actually may have been a surface mount version. It's fine. We'll just take a through-hole one and bend the legs, and then cut them off. Bend them so that they're not. This is where a pair of... Unfortunately, I don't know where a pair of pliers are. But I do have a pair of wire snips, so they'll do. Besides, I need them anyway. So that's what we're doing. We're going like that. See how they're bent? So when it lays down, it'll be relatively flat. And the trick to not cutting is just don't put a lot of force. Now, when I lay this down, okay, so the dot was, so it was oriented this way. I'll refer to my photo. So the dot was to the lower right. I'm going to have to still clip off these legs. Okay, that's good. So now we'll just, there we go. 1, 2. Now, again, this goes like that. It's amazing how little markings are actually on this board. Like, for the caps, they really didn't give you a lot to, like, go off of. This chip, too, there's no markings at all. Very odd. Anyway. That should be fine. It's not exactly high voltage, you know. Okay, take our good solder and we'll flood fill. Yeah, that's nice and solid. Perfect. I ain't going nowhere. And just because I'm paranoid. Oh, a little too much solder. Take a little braid. Clean that up. It bridged. Go fig. There we go. Should have just left well enough alone. There we go. Okay, that's good. Perfect. Brand new Opto, so they don't have to worry about that going bad. 50-cent part. I mean, you know, why not, right? It's very dusty. Okay. I just want to go ahead and show you guys that new Opto I put on. As if it, you know, all that impressive, but you cannot see. It's kind of hard to. How do I guess? See, I need it. There we go. Okay. The focus is locked. There we go. So yeah, replace that guy. So the solder bridges up between it and locks it in place. That's how the original one was on there. Very interesting idea, but yeah, basically instead of drilling some holes, they just mounted it. With that, that's actually beyond the through holes, which, give me a second, I'm going to go grab the replacements, which are all going to be high quality. I'll show you them. No corners cut. We used polymer caps. That's what, right. Let's see. So, like, that little guy right there is a polymer cap. We're going to double check, make sure all the orientations are right. So I need a 220 at 25. 220 at 50, 220 at 35. 270. 220 at 25. I apparently need to order some of these. All right. Okay. Definitely got to get a new chair down here. All right. So, you got these guys. So, what do we got? We have... These are, as you can see, 220 at 25. These are Panasonic FR. Super high quality, super long life. Outlived this board easily. All right. And I want my photo for reference. Just because, again, they didn't mark this board in any capacity for these through holes. It's really weird. Well, they kind of did. Actually, no, they didn't. Normally, there's like a square notch. There is one, but it's not where I'm actually having to populate the caps. It's actually in a different spot. And I'm pretty sure those don't actually go anywhere. I you know. So I'm going to give these a little tiny bend, just so they sit extremely flush. That way they don't kind of, flat. Because otherwise I have to actually bend the leads in a weird, come on. Okay, there's one. Gotta buy more of these when I order my parts, which gotta do that soon. All right, I got one more. I think actually, no, that might have been it. Nope, no, that was it. Okay, so that one's right. That one's right. I'm double checking my surface mount. That's right. That's right. Oh, I missed one. Missed a guy. Good. Okay, that's why we got photos. Okay, that's right. All right, I'll quickly populate that guy. I'll be done. At least with this, and then, like I said, I gotta start that shit. There we go. And again, we are using our polys, tant polys, which are as good as, they're actually better. So I hate people that recommend tantalums because they don't account for well, you don't want to hear me talk about polymer and tantalums and all that nonsense. Just know that there's details never talked about when recommending them, and yeah. Actually going to be just on time because the wife is almost home. Okay. Double check the photo. Good. Okay. I'm going to go back and double check all the initial soldering on those. Ooh, this board's heavy. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. That one could look better. There we go. Much better. Go ahead and give that one a little love. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do the bottom. We are just about done, folks. So if you, I don't know who's been here, but I want to thank you. I am literally 1 or 2 solder joints plus cuts away. We have, so to give a recap, what did we do? Well, again, we removed the old caps. We cleaned up the questionable pads because, well, they were quite questionable. Then we populated new caps for the surface mount. Again, those were polymer versus your usual electrolytic. Because again, this is a pretty special board, and not that this board itself is special, but the person receiving it. I want to be able to give them, hey, like we did everything possible for you. So, final little clean up here. There we go. And try that off. Ah, almost missed one. Oops. Okay. You little booger. I was gonna hold it up to the light anyway, so you wouldn't have gotten away. But where was that guy? I saw the holes. Actually, putting it up to the light even. I saw it underneath. Where was it? Right. Oh, no. Sorry, never mind. I didn't miss it. It's just, I thought I did. I'm stupid. Okay. Good, right, because I didn't solder 2 of the holes. I forgot about that. Okay. Okay. Well, with that, minus it getting cleaned, all of our surface mount caps look good. I'm going to reflow that one just a little bit. Not that it needs it, but it's going to be shipped, so any extra solder, it'll be... Okay. So again, very high-end through-hole caps, very high-end surface mount caps. And then we also replaced our opto, wherever my hand is, we have replaced that opto isolator, just for good measure. Well, with that, I think I'm going to reflow that one, just again, give it some structural integrity, even though it doesn't need it. Looks fine. There we go. Okay, this is ready to be washed. So I'm going to set it up here for washing. Now, I have the rest of the chassis behind me. Kind of curious to see. I've not done a floppy drive for one of these guys. I'm curious if they're like doing a Macintosh. A lot of times those need caps by now. Whew. This chassis is heavy. I am not looking forward to doing the power supply on this. Probably why I'm starting with the floppy drive. And for anyone wondering, this actually does not have a magneto optical drive. It only has the floppy. It's got a big ass, ugly, what do you call it? SCSI drive, which I am gonna hopefully be able to clone before I replace it. I gotta see. I gotta get a. Not trying to lose you. There we go. Real question is my like I said, I don't actually know what's in this as far as caps go, so it's gonna be an adventure. Guess I'm gonna open it because I'll work on it tomorrow, worst case. So all right, good, my screwdriver fits. I wasn't worried about that. Ooh. Okay, I don't have to worry about alignment because one of the screws is fixed and the other is adjustable. Okay. It's watch me make a fool of myself taking apart a floppy drive. Well, at least all the screws seem to be semi the same. Okay. Real fun will be me reassembling the. Alright, we got a Sony drive. Those do tend to have caps in them. Now this I probably won't use polymer for a few reasons, mainly just size. It depends. A lot of times the caps in here are low value, and I don't tend to stock low value polymer caps. Low as in like 10 volts, stuff like that. A lot of times you'll have 100 microfarad at 10 volts. So far, I mean, it's got to be caps. I can't imagine the board doesn't have caps. So far, though, I don't know where they are. I'm probably going to look this board up before. I'm not going to take this thing apart. But, I guess while I'm here... if there's caps, they would be... There wouldn't be any room for them. This thing is filthy. A lot of dust bunnies. I might ask Rob Blessing. He'd know for sure. But there's really no room for them to be in here once you get into where, like, the motor mechanisms are. So maybe there aren't any. Because, yeah, there's really not any room for them. Which is good for me. Because I don't have to worry about, you know, again, clean this thing up. I gotta get some lithium grease and... Although, I'm not gonna lie, this thing's pretty, already pretty loose. I wonder if somebody already maintained... Although, no, I mean, if they did, I would still want to redo it. I mean, the thing is so dusty. So if they did, they didn't do a very good job of it. I don't generally do floppies, but mainly because it's not worth it. But I don't even have really a way to test this one. But yeah, I don't think there are any caps in this. I'm really surprised, honestly. I expected there to be some. Guess, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna have to find a floppy drive, or floppy disk. But all right, let me clean the heads. I'm guessing this is a 144, but it could be wrong. Oh no, definitely a. Okay. That is as much as I'm touching that head. I do not want to have to worry about the azimuth and all that being out of whack. And yeah, I'll get some lithium grease. I guess I'll clean up the guide rail since I'm going to redo it anyway. So, like I said, this wasn't actually that bad. So now I'm starting to wonder if somebody had already redone this. Yeah, if there's caps, there's really not much room for them to exist. It would also be very difficult to get to them. So let's see, this is a Sony. So it's a Sony MP F40W. Actually, it's a 2.88. No, let me make sure I put 1x because yeah, it's a 2.88. Interesting. Okay. Is this the same thing they use on PS2s? Interesting. All right, yeah, it doesn't appear there's actually caps on this, which is good for me. I don't have to mess with it. All right, so I need to get some lithium grease, and then I'll worry about that. I'm gonna, for now, mount these screws back where they were, and then I gotta do the power supply, which actually means I'm mostly done with this thing, which is kind of nice. Thankfully, I didn't have the magneto optical drive to deal with, because honestly, the thing probably would have been in terrible shape anyway. I've not had good luck with those not being utterly destroyed. They tend to just, I don't know, be in awful shape. But there it is. Like, I know there's two screws. And then I'll worry about repositioning and all that later. I gotta get some lithium grease. I don't have any. Or if I do, I have like a spray, which isn't really what I want. Alright, with that, I'm done. I want to thank you for anyone for watching. Like I said, I haven't really. I've worked on a few of these in private, but this is the first one I've kind of recorded and done anything with. I'm assuming audio work because nobody said anything. Well, yeah. I hope I was at least somewhat entertaining, or at the least, information wise, there's something there. But thanks again. I'll probably do the power supply live. That'll probably be tomorrow. I don't really anticipate people seeing a lot of this stuff when I'm doing it. But anyway, thanks for stopping by, and ciao.